This is one of the most vicious positions I've ever seen. You may think that the position with white here is pretty quiet. This game is gonna show you the power of having two rooks like this on an open file, and you're gonna see how powerful this is. This is pretty much like everything that white has in this position. You feel that the king is pretty strong, but is it really? The first move that white played here, I mean, it's a long variation, but it's filled with sacrifices. It's totally insane. So after bishop take f6, bishop takes, and now everything starts. Get ready because the pieces are gonna fly, really. Starts with a queen sacrifice, queen g4, and you see what's happening? It's called a deviation, because this queen is totally overloaded. If you see here, there is some back rank checkmate actually possibilities whenever the 3 pawns are here. If queen takes queen, that's the first move we have to analyze. What happens is simply rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, checkmate. The queen cannot take the queen here on g4. So the only move seems to be a move like queen b5. And why is that? Because if you put the queen on a different square, let's say you go here, you get checkmated again. Rook takes, and rook takes is another checkmate. With your queen, you have to protect actually this square at all times. So he played in the game queen b5. And now another crazy move, which is you're giving the queen, but this time you're giving the queen actually who can get taken by two pieces. Totally insane. Obviously, the rook cannot take, otherwise you're gonna take this one and you're gonna checkmate, okay? It's gonna be here, and you're gonna checkmate. And if the queen takes the queen, it's another checkmate, because when the queen takes, you take, and yeah, it's the same variation again. So queen c4 is an amazing move because the queen cannot get taken, because of back rank checkmate. So now he comes back because he has to stay and defend this rook. And now that's, I believe, one of the best move in this position, even though he tried to sacrifice the queen twice already. But that's totally insane. Queen c7. This is a move that is really hard to find because you're definitely like, you're just going like, you know, in the center of his position. Like, you're like, you know, take my queen. I don't want my queen, just take it. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, queen c7. Again, the same thing. The queen cannot take. If the queen takes, this one is hanging, right? And it's going to be checkmate. If the rook takes the queen, it's the same thing. So it's going to be a back rank checkmate. That's pretty insane. There is no move for black here. He has to keep playing again queen b5. The same thing again. And on queen b5 now, it's quite hard because in our games at this point, we're like, okay, we saw the back rank checkmate, we saw the queen sacrifices because we learned this, and now we're like kind of stuck because we're like, okay, so what do I do now in this position? Really? You know, this seems to be defended, and what am I supposed to do with white to actually progress? There is a move that you could maybe think about, which is queen take b7, but this is a blunder, like you can see here, because obviously the queen is not going to take the queen, otherwise it's going to be checkmate. On this move, black has another nice move, which is queen takes, and if the rook takes, what's going to happen is this one actually just slides, and they're going to checkmate you. That's pretty ugly. Okay, so you cannot actually keep on sacrificing the queen this way, thinking, okay, queen take b7. Okay, I just spoiled the move. It's actually really hard to find because it's quite... When I watched this position, when I looked at this position first, I was like, I really don't understand the next two moves that arrive, but I will explain you and you will see why. The next move is a4. He's sacrificing this pawn. The queen is gonna take, it's forced. And now look at this. Rook e4. Obviously the rook here cannot take because we take this one. We check. And after we're gonna checkmate. So this is not possible. So this rook actually is not hanging, you know, per se. But okay, he can just move. And now why did we do this? Why did we actually push the pawn and then put the rook here? Do you remember in the other variation, in this one, that actually you couldn't take the pawn on b7 here because there was this move? Queen takes rook, and then after rook takes, this one jumps in here. So now what happens with the last two moves, which are a4, attack the queen, and the queen moves? What happens is the rook is not there anymore. The queen cannot take this rook. So there is no back rank checkmate. There is no, yeah, it's just not there. Just not there. So that's the reason why you play this. And you're kind of like created a sort, you create a sort of Zugzwang actually for black, because what do you want them to play here? So now the fact that the rook is not on e2 anymore, right? He's not here anymore. Now it changes everything, because now you have another queen sacrifice. That's the third one that you're trying to do in this game. So queen takes pawn. And now you see what's happening. If the queen takes, you know it, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, checkmate, game over. How do you do after queen take b7? There is actually no move. And after queen take b7, actually black resigned. You have to be careful if they play the last trick, which is rook takes rook. Obviously, you're not going to take the rook because now they can take the queen. And there is no checkmate anymore. Okay, so you have to be careful. But if they play this move, the only thing that you're going to do is take this one with check. And they have to come back. You go check, they take, and checkmate. And yeah, I wanted to show you today. This is an amazing example of having, you know, two rooks on an open file and how to use, you know, tactical weapons to manage to win. Yeah, crazy game. Crazy game. I'll see you on the next one.